Hello, welcome to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C., all the way from Philadelphia, PA, and I'm super excited to introduce our guest today. This is brought to you by the Connected Leaders Academy and BALM Global. So here we go. We have Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller, the CEO of the Red Carpet Connection, also known as the Dream Maker. She is an international publicist and a master of quantum leadership, neuroscience, and the co-creation of reality. As an award-winning international consultant, keynote speaker, and five-time best-selling author, she is a whirlwind of energy, wisdom, and knowledge. Her expertise has had her on over 2,500 radio shows and podcasts, including 2020, CNN, WebMD, Prime, ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, and so much more. Her vast knowledge of multiple topics had led her to be an international speaker since the age of 16. And over 37 countries where she has spoken at business like Google and Sony, she has shared the stage with some of the most outstanding leaders of her time, like Sir Anthony Hopkins, Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, Jay Shetty, and Les Brown. Those are some amazing names. With 3 successful businesses under her belt, including the redcarpetconnection.com for publicity and sponsorship, igniteyourrelationship.com for interpersonal and professional relationship, and subconsciousnessconnection.com for mindset and performance, NLP, and hypnosis. Dr. Adams-Miller has a wealth of experience in helping high-level visionaries connect and collaborate projects that can change the world. She is a triple PhD holder and a certified master neurolinguistics practitioner, master hypnotherapist, biofeedback practitioner, and neurofeedback practitioner. Holding a $12 billion Rolex, Dr. Adams-Miller has the authority, credibility, and connection to put you in the limelight, set up partnerships, and acquire sponsorships funding. She has experienced authenticity and integrity essential for business lasting relationships and creating breakthrough ideas and innovations. Beyond her business work, Dr. Adams-Miller co-founded the KeepSmilingMovement.org, the nonprofit dental and mental health organization where she acts as the executive director. Her mission is to save lives by creating a dose of hope to be resilient no matter the challenge. They offer mental health tools like hypnosis and meditation, storybooks and photos, and referrals to others helpful self-help programs and services. She lives surrounded by her family on a 50-acre Ohio farm. Wow. Let's bring my friends up. Give me one moment. There we go.
I'm going to bring you up.
Yes. And I told myself to do it on the right side, but this is live TV. It's okay. I love it. And I enjoy
do whatever
it.
You want.
Exactly. We're not perfect. But, I did have the red on because I wanted to match you girls.
I wondered. I was going to ask you what was up with that. I love it. I think it looks great.
Thank you. Well, welcome. Now you are officially part of the BALM family, and I'm super excited to finally get you on here so that we can have a chat and share with our audience what you do. So thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
Yeah, I'm excited to be with you. Every time I'm around you, I just adore you and love you. I've met your family, your partner, your child, your in-laws, I love it. Everybody's amazing. So it's so nice to be able to be here and share your audience with you as well, and to be able to give them some great value.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, we definitely had a blast with you in New Jersey in January with our book launch. But we met in October at Flashpoint at Austin Haynes event. And that was just a magical weekend. It was my first time getting to know you. And let me just tell you that when I walked in the room and I seen your smile, it's just so infectious. And I don't know if you've seen me on our like CLA calls and stuff like that. It's just this smile all day, right? So
Oh,
I
thank
can
you.
definitely relate. So let's talk a little bit first about, before we get into that first time we met, let's talk a little bit about who Andrea is, because you have like this amazing list. But who was Andrea before all of this happened, and how did you even decide that this is the path you wanted to go on?
Well, my whole life, so I was an only child and a lonely child. So I was by myself a lot. We lived where there weren't any other kids or people to be with. And I love being with people. So in my adult life, I'm able to create the life I want and have an extended family beyond my people who live here with me and that my children, my three daughters and my grandchildren, who live in my community. And that's what's been really important to me, because as a child, not being around other people, my friends were my parents' friends. And then books. So I read books all the time. I'm a super avid reader. And well, I've not been reading as much lately. I've been traveling a lot the last several years, and I although I am reading things, I'm not necessarily always reading books. And then I help people write them and so forth. So I am reading them in that perspective. But as a kid, we would go to the library and I would check out like 30 to 60 books a week to 2 weeks, depending on how often my mom wanted to go. And we'd bring these big stack of books home, and I'd lay down on my bed, pop open a book, and I would read the books cover to cover. So it was not unusual for me to read 15 to 30 books or more a week. Now, of course, this is young adult fiction, so they're a little easier to read, larger font, bigger spread out. But still, that's quite a quantity of books to read. I, collected quite a few of those. And on my day, we got the Pizza Hut rewards for reading, and I had plenty of Pizza Hut free rewards.
I love it.
So that's what it led me to. I wanted to be with other people and experience the life that I read in these books. That's what book through books I had friends and experiences and trips and learned about business and life and physics and quantum physics and woo woo and whatever you could think of.
Wow, that is amazing. So I wasn't an only child. I had a brother, and my son is an only child, and he is like all into his books and creating. That's where his creative space comes in from, because now he has all this time. He doesn't have anyone to like bother him. Now sometimes he wishes I had an additional child, but at first he was like, no, I don't want to share anything. And now he's like, oh, I wish I would have had someone that could look up to me. So, and if wherever we find it, whether it's in books and other communities, we just got to go out there and look for it, because they're waiting for you, right? So, thank you
Exactly.
so much for sharing that, and I love that that you created that space for yourself, and that you actually made it happen. You weren't how do you say, you weren't afraid to just dive into exactly what you wanted to create for yourself. So awesome, awesome. So let's go into now high school. We're in high school, we're deciding what we want to do, college, and go into a little bit about that.
Okay, so I was a super overachiever. Part of it was because I was a people pleaser. I grew up in a household, with my mom and dad. They were very active in the community. They were runners, so we traveled a lot. So my mom and dad could go to these races all the time on the weekends. So I was used to going a lot of places in the car. And again, I was always by myself because they would go run, and then I was by myself waiting on them. Would hold their stuff, and then at home, my home life was when it was great, it was super great. And when it wasn't great, it was challenging. So my mom was raised to be more submissive, and was the cooked and clean. She didn't work until I was in 8th grade. And my dad seemed to be more the, when I always kind of felt like I lived in a war zone where any moment I might trigger a bomb to go off. And when he was frustrated or mad, it would quickly escalate. And so I spent my life trying to ease that and figure out and pick up cues and clues and keep a harmonious home. And so I took on a lot of responsibility as a kid. And because I took on that responsibility, I noticed that I got recognized by my teachers and stuff like that. So my teachers kind of were more my friends than my peers because I really didn't know how to be a friend. When you're alone by yourself, you don't always have that ability to connect to people well. Although my mom and dad were both my Girl Scout leaders, we did have a Girl Scout troop called Swits with interest in traveling to Zurich. We went to Europe. My dad also was my softball coach, so I learned a lot about. I actually have a book mapped out on how you really live your whole life from behind the plate. So I learned about life from being a catcher and from behind the plate. Everybody thinks that a softball game or a baseball game, it's all about the pitcher, but actually the pitcher never throws the ball until the catcher signals that it's time. So we actually have way more control behind the plate than people think because we see everything that's going on, plus the fine details of where people place their feet or throw the ball. And if you take those analogies into all of your life, it really changes the perspective of what you see and what you know. But it's that overachievedness that allowed me to really reach out into the community. And that's where I really got my connection to be with other people. And that was volunteering to be in social groups and to do other things where, like I said, in the Girl Scouts and that special troop, I was the kid leader in that. And so I got to speak internationally overseas at corporations and thank them for having us and tell them about our mission. So I was an international speaker at 16. And then in the local clubs and activities that I did, I was quickly given leadership positions. So that's kind of what led me to do all of this. I put myself in those things, so that I could be included.
I love that. And wow, at 16, a lot of us are just scared and afraid. I was actually at a podcast panel where these amazing young individuals were being highlighted with for some of like their poetry and some of their artwork. And I just seemed like the shyness. They weren't like prepped or ready to be there, but they had so much passion to want to be there, even though they were like just giggly and stuff like that. They felt like they weren't prepared, but they really faced their fears. Was there any fear at any point of time? Was there anyone that tried to knock you off of your space or knock that momentum out in any way? And if there was, how did you deal with that to just continue to go forward?
Well, that's one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about the Keep Smiling movement is, we share with people to be resilient no matter the challenge. You just mentioned, we were talking, about like what we're into and what's exciting in our worlds from business to woo. I'm a little bit all of it. And I just was at an event where we were in a woo woo session, where people can see you and see past life and see frequencies. And it was really interesting. The guy, he came up to me and he put his thumb right here on my throat and he said, "Oh my gosh, you've been strangled, you've been choked out, you've been raped, you've been beaten down, you've been knocked out." He's like, and it was interesting to watch him because his eyes were like little kaleidoscopes as he's seeing all this. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, it's not only in this lifetime, but multiple lifetimes past." He's like, "Wow." And he said, "And here you show up and you're all smiles and bubbles." He's like, "I can't believe how your energy radiates with everything that you've been through." And yes, so I have been knocked down, dragged out, stepped on, smushed, crushed. And all of those experiences have allowed me to figure out how to be resilient. So they definitely weren't easy, definitely were tumultuous. Some of them I held on longer than others. And that's what made me so, what's the word, eager to learn and to know things. So that's why that's probably part of the reason I became an overachiever as well, because I was always looking, how could I be better? Because at the time I thought I wasn't enough. So I wanted to be better because I was trying to fix me because I was around people who were angry, mean, or, I really attracted people like that. And I think that was part of my growing up with that. However, now, I know that I'm valuable and worthy. And so I keep learning now because I love to learn. And I want to see how I contribute to other people's lives to overcome the challenges that I overcame, and how that they could do it quicker and easier. So they don't have, I'm 53, I'll soon be 54 in May. And I don't want other people to have that challenge behind them. I want them to be able to get there quickly and easily with, grace and gratitude. So that's why I'm triple trained in NLP, uh, uh, dual trained in NLP as a master prac, triple trained in hypnosis. So you can hear, like, I didn't just take one school. Oh no, we're going to do it 3 times. I didn't do one PhD. Let's do a couple. It's just kind of, at the same time though, I now know why I was doing that. I was doing that to fulfill something that was missing. And now that I have those things, I'm grateful because I'm able to give back to other people.
Yeah. So unconsciously, you were basically building that part of your expertise, not for yourself, but for others and those that are about to, be part of your world where you can actually uh, sense something, pick up an energy, pick up something that you can actually be able to help someone else out. So I love that overachiever in you. I felt like that was me when I was in corporate America, just trying to learn everything you can and just absorb it to become the leader that I feel that I am today. So,
Mhm.
but
You're
tell
doing a
me
great
how you
job. So kudos to you.
Thank you. So tell me how you would help someone who is feeling unworthy. Like, what piece of advice would you let them know, like right now at our audience, if they're just thinking about doing something, but they're just not sure, they feel like they are not worthy or they don't have enough expertise, just anything like that.
Well, one of the the best things I learned is, earlier in my life, even until recently, I attract people who seem to have great high esteem, sometimes even borderlining into narcissism. And if you look at people like that, they have no fears, no qualms, no worries. Like you could downright criticize them right to their face, and they like take it as a compliment. Like they can't hear anything to help them be different or better because they have such an inflated ego. Now, I'm not saying that we want to have inflated egos, but at the same time, if you look at someone like that and then you look at yourself and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, I have all these characteristics, and what is different that makes me feel not worthy and allows them to think that they are very worthy when maybe they actually even have some lack. What how is that? And it's all about self-esteem. And so, and part of building your self esteem, so like people see me as extremely confident, body positive, and I am all of those things now. Although I have my moments, I'm a big crybaby sometimes too, and have my moments of low, and it happens. And then I just remember to smile, and I keep smiling, and then I pull myself back up because I know it's only temporary. But if you're really feeling stuck there, one of the best things that you can do is I call digging for gold. And digging for gold is if you've never written a curriculum vitae, which is a very expanded resume, I suggest you do that now because it's going to help you in your business and help you in your personal development. When you look back, like, so every time I hear somebody read one of my bios or, when they talk about me and talk about the things that they've met and what they've seen me do, I can't help but feel good about that because I did that. I did that. I know that. And so that will work for you as well. And even if you've not, it doesn't matter if you have certificates or, academics, look at what you've done. Like, if you're going to Nikki's event, I went to Nikki's event. I learned this. I listened to Nikki's program. Write those things down because you're taking in information all the time. Excuse me, I need a drink. And that information, whether you're reading something, whether you're watching movies, don't let other people tell you that because you're a Netflix, super absorber, that's a bad thing. Okay. Yeah, okay. Maybe you could spend more time doing some other things, but instead of taking it as a criticism, Take it as an opportunity for you to look at, write down all the movies that you've watched, write a little critique of each one of them, do something about them, utilize them for knowledge, because you still learn something. All of them had a story in them. Many of them probably had a book attached to them. If you told people you read the book, they give you accolades. If you watch the movie, all of a sudden it has no value. That's not true. It has value. So give yourself credit for the things that you're doing in your life. What have you done? What have you created? If you have a super, super crazy clean house, acknowledge that you are really regimented in the things that you do, and your storage capacity and your ability to organize and to be resourceful and to give things away, and acknowledge yourself for those things. And when you write them down and you see them, and you write them down in a way that are bullet pointed as if they were in a resume, all of a sudden you realize how freaking awesome you really are.
I love that. I've never heard that in that regard. That is such an awesome thing to do, because I think people will find more gifts and talents that they have with doing that, because I think that we watch things for a reason. You're right. Either someone referred it to us, someone told us, they need to watch it. Then we go and we watch it. Then we have a opinion about it, whether, I shouldn't have listened to you, or I'm glad I listened to you. This is what I've learned. So I've never seen that. And there's so many levels that you can go on that regard on what you do. Because I think everything that we do in our lives, it's another task. It's another job. Being a mom, being a wife, being a husband, being a sister, being a brother, like we all have something, a duty to fulfill with each of those job descriptions, right? So just kind of look back and do an assessment and see what you like best, what you know more of. And I always say, use your expertise, your experience, and create a business with it. That's what I do for my clients that want to start something, but they really don't know how or think that they can't. And we just use those things.
Yeah.
So that's a great point. I've never said it in that way, but I'm going to start using that. And I hope you don't mind.
No, I appreciate that. Because everything is a business, because I meet people all the time and they're like, well, I can't do a business. I don't know more than other people. And I'm like, yeah, you do. Yes, you do. There are things that you know how to do that I don't know how to do, and you could teach me to do them better. And now it doesn't mean that I don't know them at all. And it doesn't mean that you're an expert. It just means you know it more than I do. So if someone, it could be anything, it could be cooking, so I know how to cook, but I don't know how to cook fancier poo-poo or ethnic foods. I would love somebody to tell me how to cook. I would love to cook naan. Okay. So if somebody's watching this and you know how to make naan, I want naan because I want a lot of it and I want it all the time and I want it fresh and hot, so I want to make that. I love Indian food. I love Thai food. I love Afghan food. I would love to learn how to make some of this stuff. When I made chicken masala, I was so excited and then overate and felt sick because it was so good. I couldn't stop eating it. So those are things that you can teach other people. You could write a cookbook because you like to cook and you're good at it and people like your food. Now all of a sudden you're a chef and an author, and just because people like what you eat, even if it's your cookies and your brownies. You don't have to make 50,000 things to be an expert at them. You could be the best Rice Krispie treat maker in the world and write about it. And next thing you know, you're known as the Rice Krispie treat expert.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. That's just amazing. If people just took the time, just take the time, actually. Take the time to really see where you can fit in. And trust me, there is a space for everyone. So let's go on to, you've done all these amazing things. You're changing lives all over the place. Let's talk about that Keep Smiling movement, because I love that. And what you do when you're at every event and you give them this card, and what's the mission behind that, and why did you want to be a part of all of that?
So how that came to pass is, so I have the Red Carpet Connection. That's my main business. I'm a consultant for publicity and publishing and sponsorship and event planning. So I really look at things at a full capacity, and I'm able to give you the bird's eye view of how that should look and how you can expand and reach out further. And at the same time, see the fine details of things. And that's how I became the dream maker. My clients who are high level visionaries, these are high level dreamers, usually serial entrepreneurs, they named me the dream maker because I would make their dreams come true bigger than they ever dared to desire. And that's what happened with the Keep Smiling movement. So I had met a gentleman who was a client. He was a photographer, had a book publishing company. And soon after we met, he met another gentleman who, his name's Barry Shore, who was a former quadriplegic from a disorder called Guillain-Barré syndrome. And it is a autoimmune disorder. Some people just have some touch sensory, might feel like their foot is dragging or their face droops. He had full out quadriplegia with his overnight. And his rabbi gave him a card one time when he was visiting him, and Barry was feeling low. And his rabbi talked to him about, how you act and how you behave can change your environment, and gave him a card that referenced something about smiles. It wasn't this card, but something similar to it. And Barry then spent several years really thinking about how he could change his environment with his smile. And then he started changing his internal environment because he's like, wow, I've changed my external environment. What if I started smiling and thinking about how I could live in joy and gratitude and happiness inside? Could I change my physical body? And then that gave him the will to overcome his diagnosis that he'd never walk again. He is still ambulatory. He uses this great 6.5-foot walking stick. He's amazingly bombastic. And him being so energetic and amazing and having these cards led the other gentleman, who's known as Dr. Smiley. He said, wow, can I take these cards and take pictures of them and make some kind of a movement or something? And of course, Barry was like, of course. And at this time, Ken and I had already started to know each other. And he had asked me to help him. So I said, Ken had already made one book. And then I said, make these books more like a who's who in America. Like, who are the people? What do they do? How do they show up? So this is a book he made for me to empower women. So it's a women's empowerment book, and you can see all the women are holding Keep Smiling cards. And the more I helped him, the more I was helping them with their ideas and what they're doing. I became fully indoctrined as well, and took on the project as if it was, also mine. I'd been there since the conception of it. And so I became mom and loved this project so much. And when I was in 8th grade, I said, someday I'm going to have some kind of project that is going to help people with their smiles, because my aunt, she was only 3 years older than me, and her teeth were a bit crowded, although her imperfect smile was perfect to me. She would hide it. She'd go, ah, when she smiled. And it always bothered me because my family had money for braces and I had braces. And I always wanted to make my aunt feel confident that I either wanted to give her braces or I wanted her to feel confident that she didn't need them. And in my opinion, the more I do stuff with the dental world and the more I do stuff with smiles, the less I like everybody's teeth looking the same. I like the imperfectness. I love a little, when my daughter had her teeth fixed, she had one little tooth that was slightly crooked. I always thought that made her look cute and different. And she fixed it. And I was like, oh, I'm glad she fixed it. But at the same time, I loved her imperfect smile. So this idea that we change lives with smiles, what happens is we literally change our brain neuroplasticity. So I have all these trainings in neuroscience and neurofeedback and all this stuff. And when we smile, we release 4 neurotransmitters: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. So that's a dose. We give ourselves a dose of hope. And hope, we have an acronym for: hold on, pain eases. I say pain eases, and then eventually pain ends. So then you even have greater hope. And we do that so that people realize that just in smiling, it's kind of like a Band-Aid. Like if something horrible happened today, you're just not going to smile and it all magically floats away like nothing happened. However, when you smile, you feel better. And the more you smile, just like put fresh Band-Aid every day, that wound heals and eventually you feel better and better. And to me, that's what a Band-Aid is, is a smile. Every day I'm putting on a Band-Aid of healing. And if you're already healed and you smile, you're just adding extra energy to you. And Nikki, think about this. Let's say, let's say you're in traffic and someone's driving erratically and they're kind of ticking you off, and you look down at your speedometer and this is in your dash.
Oh
Are
my
you more
gosh.
likely to go ahead, merge in, or go, you know, no, you go,
Yes,
keep smiling.
definitely.
Yeah. If you're in an argument with your spouse or thinking about being in one and you see this laying around in your living room, you're like,
Okay.
hey, I'm going to take the trash out again today, but I'd really love it if tomorrow maybe you could do it instead, instead of like, this, it changes.
Hey, can you hear me? Yes, it definitely changes your way
Windy
of.
here. So it looks like
Yes, I
I
can hear
dropped
you.
out a second.
Yeah, just for a second. So the last thing I heard you say was it changes, and you can fill in the blank now.
Well, it just changes your whole life, the trajectory of who you are and how you want to be. So when you remember to smile and to keep smiling, not only does it change your environment, but it changes the way you think and the positivity of things that are going to come. If you walk into something with a smile on your face, then you're more likely to land the contract, talk yourself out of a ticket, get the coupon or discount that you wanted, or get the deal negotiated the way you want to, than if you were to come in with a negative mindset. So the neuroplasticity of a smile really changes the course of your life and brings in great joy and happiness.
It definitely does. It definitely does. I have to agree with you 1,000% because when I was in corporate America and I worked at this healthcare job, um, no one has ever seen me upset, mad, sad, no matter what I was going through. Like literally from the first day I started back in, I would say what 2006 to 2000 to 2020. I had the same smile every day, and sometimes people would ask me like, "I don't know how you do it." And though I had things going on, I knew how to leave it at the door before I left my home. And I knew how to leave work at work when I came home. And it was just not that it's easy, but my thought process, my mindset was, why are we going to waste time in complaining instead of finding solutions to our problems? And that's really why I do what I do. Is I'm a problem solver. So let's figure it out. Let's find something, creative ways. When my management team used to come, they used to say, "Hey, Nikki, oh my God, we have a project, it's due Friday and we're not even close to done." And I'm like, stop, step back, breathe. And what is it that you need? When is it due by? Let's get started. That's
Mhm.
exactly. He was like, how are you not freaking out? It's due Friday. We're gonna get it done. Like the more we talk, we go back and forth and complain about it. We're getting nothing done. So
Right.
let's just find
Right.
solutions.
And I want to, so there's two things I want to point out. One is I'm really glad that you were able to do that. And I would like to add that things have changed over the last couple of years, especially with the pandemic and so forth, where the pendulum of the world of the me, we society, we are at a point now where people like seeing the vulnerability because it allows them to be them as well. So although at the time that was what you did was probably excellent in what you needed to do then, I would love it if now it's okay for you to get a little glimmer of a sadness in your eye if something has passed, and to let people know that something's happened. It doesn't mean you need to cry all day or be blubbery, but it's okay for us to be real. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
I had joked with Nikki before this that I wanted to be really, really real and transparent. So as the Red Carpet Connection, as this consultant, keynote speaker, all the things that I do at different events, I travel a lot. And between January and now, I have been on the road pretty much the whole year. This is my 14th day home. And that doesn't mean in a row. Like I was home like the first, second, and third. And then I was home like 2 days. And then I was home like 2 days. And then I was like home a day. So my Christmas tree is still up. Now, I'm thinking about leaving it up till March 25th. And this is why I grew up loving Shel Silverstein. He was an author. He wrote Where the Sidewalk Ends, The Giving Tree. I just loved him so much. And he brought so much joy to my life as a child and as an adult. And one of his poems is no one's, wait, no one's talking brotherhood. No one's giving gifts, and no one loves a Christmas tree on March the 25th.
March the 25th is actually my birthday. So
well, there you go. See, no one loves a Christmas tree on your birthday.
Oh, that's not nice because it's my birthday. So we're not celebrating Christmas.
It should be about you, not about the Christmas tree.
I love it. But you know what? I have to confess, I still have my Christmas tree up. Now, though I don't have my ornaments, I do have the lights on, and I'm kind of saving on electricity, I would say, because it just lights up both my living room and my dining room. So I have not taken it off. The initial plan was to just change the decorations for every season, every holiday coming up. So Valentine's Day was supposed to be the next one. Nothing ever got on there.
That's why
either.
It's still red.
Yes.
And now, wait, is today St. Patrick's Day?
Today is St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, so and mine is still just white with white lights, and it does not have anything on. So I will be keeping it up for the year.
I'm going to carry around this green candy cane.
Yeah, so we will not have anything up for St. Patty's Day. Maybe I'll do Easter, and I'll let you guys know. I'll post something on Facebook, but I plan to have it on for the year. I know I've seen it there, and I'm like, it's okay. It's okay.
I figured the people in my world who are judging me are not the people that need to be in my world because, my whole life, I'd rather go do things and be with people. And like yesterday, I was having a conversation with a friend and someone new. We were really connecting really well. And I saw the tree in my background and I thought, well, this could be a good time. I could disassemble the tree while we're talking. And then our conversation shifted something to so heartfelt and so deep. No, I needed to be present and needed to be here. And that tree wasn't hurting anybody. It doesn't bother anybody. And it's actually a great conversation starter. So
definitely leave it there. It definitely started a conversation before we even went live. So I love it. Absolutely. But we are going to take a quick break so we can listen to our sponsor. We'll be right back with Dr. Andrea in just one moment.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JASCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Welcome back. Welcome back, Dr. Andrea. Do you know that man?
I do know Jose. I just adore Jose. He's a great client. We've been working together for a while now. And then I'm helping him with his event for the Connected Leaders Academy Global Summit taking place in October. And so right now we're inviting people to send in their speaker applications, and we're securing the vendors and the sponsors so that they can get some love and publicity before the event so that they are expanding their businesses before we even get there. So super great. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I met Jose back in May of last year, and it's about to be a year, and I'm having my first event May of this year. And Jose has just been amazing in my growth journey. Just being a part of the Connected Leaders Academy has been just super awesome. So I definitely will be there. I will be there platinum style because that is the only way to go for me. And for everyone, I believe you definitely want to be on that VIP and get all the value. How important is it, since you put on a lot of events and things like that, or you help your clients put on events and coaching and all that stuff, how important is it, not for yourself personally, to have a coach and a mentor for you to, how important is it for just events, period?
So there's two things I hear in that, and that's so events, the events, when you get to meet people and be with them in person, you see more than just this version of them. We get to see people and how they act and how they respond. And since we take in most of what we know about people and how we see and think and feel about them is in their actions. So you can't see how am I holding my feet, my legs, where's my body language? Like this, because I'm a talker with my hands, and you can't see that because it's under here. Now you might pick up some inkling from my shoulders and so forth, but there is a missing of the communication of people when you only see a 2D image of them. We're not able to experience the fullness of them. And I really love touch. So, to be able to touch people and shake their hand and to break bread with them in a community environment adds so much richness to your life. And it helps you with your personal relationships, with your business relationships, and with sealing deals and how you both can grow and prosper. And then you mentioned coaches and mentors. I've always believed in coaches and mentors. It's because of coaches and mentors as a child that led me to be able to do some really great things and push me to do things I thought I could never do. When I graduated as a junior, I left school in the middle of my junior year and finished my classes because I had the intention of going to Europe to be a nanny. And instead I started school early, and then I went into law enforcement and I started my career in law enforcement. And I wouldn't have done that if I wouldn't have been with mentors that are like, why take more classes in school than it was necessary when I could be doing college classes and go on and live my life and go and do other things overseas and travel and do all of that. And then when I met Anthony Hopkins, Sir Anthony Hopkins and we shared the stage together. And when I watched him on stage, I went and sat in the audience because I wanted to really be able to see him. And I was sitting in the second row. I have a little story about this. So I'm in the second row and I'm watching him on stage. And I already really, really enjoy him, his movie. Those of you who don't know who he is, he's been in countless movies, Academy, Oscar Award winning, just amazing, amazing man. He's known, for the Hannibal Lecter, movies and so forth. Fava beans, but he does way more than that. And I love how introspective and deep he can be in his characters. And I was watching him on stage, and he was wearing a black and white check suit, a red watch, and red socks. So of course, because I wear red, she referenced the red, Nikki did. I wear red every day of my life. So like tonight, I will not be wearing green for St. Patrick's Day. I might have a green scarf on or a green doodad, but I will be wearing red because that's what I always wear. And so I felt connected to him already because he had red socks and a red watch. And while he was talking about the importance of different things and having mentors in his life. And that's when I found out that for every movie that he does, it doesn't matter how many awards he's received, that he has 3 to 5 coaches for every film that's in dialect and movement and voice and vocal performance and, how he walks, how he stands, it so impressed me. So then afterwards, when I was backstage with him, I was asking him some different questions, and because I was so intrigued with how important that was. And by the way, the questions that I asked him about mentorship came in between of these statements. He took my hand when he met me and he brought me in really close and he goes, "Ah, yes, I remember you, the pretty girl in the red dress in the second row."
I remember this conversation.
I was so excited. And then I said, "So tell me about, the mentorship. I just love that because I'm an actress too. I do, community theater, and I've now been in 70 productions. I don't know how many I had been in then, but I've now been in 70, and I'm an award-winning actress in Ohio." And so I was asking him questions, and then he would go to answer me, and then he'd go, "Yes, yes, the pretty girl in the red dress." And then we talked some more, and then again and then it was time for him to go, and he's like, "Yes, yes, the pretty girl in the red dress in the second row." And by this time I was feeling really kind of creeped out by the whole thing. And I had this sinking, icky ooh feeling that just stayed with me. It was later on, years later, I decided to watch a movie with my daughters. And in this movie, there's a ventriloquist doll. And I just remember being horrified from it because I was 12 years old, just terrified of this ventriloquist doll. In fact, I think all ventriloquist dolls are like creepy and evil, and like you should keep them in a box locked in a closet or tied to something. In fact, I have a friend who has her ventriloquist doll tied to a little kid's rocking chair. I said, not enough. It can get out of it.
Yeah.
I find those things super creepy. And now I know why that whole thing was weird, because we go to watch the movie, and when the doll went to speak, I heard the doll say, yes, yes, the pretty girl in the red dress in the second row. Okay. The doll did not say that, but it was the same voice.
So it just reminded you of that time.
Come back. Oh, there we are. We're back.
Yep. Yeah. So it was just that it reminded you of that place and time when you were having that conversation.
Yes, and that was from the movie Magic from 1974 or 5, when my aunt and uncles terrorized me with making me watch this movie, and that forever made me scared to death of ventriloquist dolls, that I've held on to that fear, just think they're super creepy. And so it was the voice of Anthony Hopkins. So Anthony Hopkins did that character. And so that's why because at first I found that all giddy and exciting, and then I was just like,
oh my goodness. And then you rewatched it and you said, oh, this is what it was. And
so that's why when he was saying that, that's why I was like, what why is this so creepy to me? Why is this, what is so resonating with me? But it was that. And so but it was such a pleasure to meet him, and to I follow him and hear what he has to say. And he's a very deep, introspective man. He was very real and shared things about alcohol addiction and stuff, and it was quite honest and open with me, and what a great pleasure to be honored to be in the place.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. Yes, definitely honored. And you've mentioned a few names here in your bio, and you had names like Les Brown, Jay Shetty, Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy, all amazing entrepreneurs, motivational speakers. What is your favorite quote from any? It doesn't have to be from these guys, or anyone that really resonated with you, that is part of your core values that you use today.
Well, the quote I actually talk about the most is one that I wrote when I worked in law enforcement. It was when I was in law enforcement. I worked on third shift a lot, and we would have some pretty serious things come in. I was a 911 dispatcher. I was police certified, and we dealt with everything from domestic violence to murder to my gray goose has been broken on my porch. So and anything could happen. And it was in those nights of sitting there when it was quiet, I realized that if you don't quench the fire in your heart, it's destined to burn forever. And that quote is really about, like, how many of you listening here are have something that you desire to do that means the most, somebody that you want to talk to, something that you want to say, a message that you want to get out, a book you want to write, a movie that you want to put into the world, and it's not happening, and you let that fester and burn and fester and burn, and it just continues to burn like a hot coal. And until you take an action about it, till you either at least address it, acknowledge it, bring it to fruition, do something with it, it will just keep burning until the day you die. So address it, and you may find that in addressing it, maybe it doesn't continue to burn. Maybe it will die down and become just embers and finally ashes. Or maybe you'll allow it to light and glow and fire you up and to make something magical happen. So So do something, do anything.
Yes. I love that. Actually, you just gave me chill bumps with that, because that's usually not a question I ask. That you something just dropped in my downloads and said, let's ask about a quote, because I know you've had all these people and they drop gems all the time, but just to know that you've created your own, and and we all probably have, and we never wrote it down, and sometimes it's those things that come out so fluently, and it's like those writer downers, and we just choose not to do it, but you did, and you remembered it, and you actually walked life with it, and you put that into people as well, which is such a beautiful thing. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm gonna actually have to go rewatch that. And I love it. So what is going on with you? What are anything special going on? What are you doing? What are you up to? And how can people connect with you?
Thank you. So yeah, we have some really cool things going on. So I've been revisiting, what I've done with all these years and pulling all these things together. So I'm a master of many different projects, many different fields of interest and diversity, but they all come together. They're all about relationships. So my business and relationships and intimacy, the relationships in business and how you handle conflict resolution, along with your connections and relationships with your fans and your followers and your clients, your vendors, your stakeholders. And then, of course, there's a relationship that you have with yourself and the self that you openly talk about and the self that you hide from yourself. How do you connect with that deeper subconscious part of yourself that you've been let hide? Maybe the one that's burning, that coal that's in here, that little ember that's got life and wants to continue burning, that you haven't tapped into, and things maybe you haven't healed, bringing that all together. So I've really been really adding more of the quantum leadership and doing some more consulting at a deeper level, because it's not, the business will succeed more the more that you allow yourself to heal, to grow and expand, and to explore what else is out there. Within in the trainings I've had in like quantum, leadership and so forth, there are things that are out there for us that we don't see. So for example, when you turn on a faucet of water, most people see a full steady stream of water. And if you were to look at that up close and have it in a time lapse, you would see that there are thousands of individual water drops. I want you to think about that like a beach. You see a beach as a beach. And I remember writing a poem when I was 13 years old. I said, look at a beach, at a grain of sand. That's me, individual, trying to be sane. It's you're one grain of sand in this entire beach, and each one has a story. Each drop coming out of that faucet has its own life. In us, we're made up of energy and of cells, and each cell has these different atoms. And if you're to look at them up close, there's all these little atoms. If you look in the atom, there's all this space. 99.9 of us inside of that is space, and so we don't realize, because we only see what we see. We see ourselves as a whole physical thing, a whole being, and really we're all just energy and frequency. So to be able to tap into this brilliance of what else is possible to us is what I've been bringing to the forefront, and really adapting and bringing in. I've been exploring into artificial intelligence and how do we bring that into business. In fact, I have a gift for everybody. Oh, I forget we just set it up. And so now I'm like, I don't remember where my free gift is at. So you can just email me or text me. Actually, just text me. That's quicker. The number's 419-722-6931, 419-722-6931. And that's even better, because by connecting with me, then you become one of the people in my Rolodex. I have a $12 billion Rolodex. It's probably worth more than that, but that's based on what I know people's net worth is. And it's probably worth more than that. But there's 75,000 people that I've met, connected with, had a conversation with. These aren't just random like lead gen. These are people that I've met, experienced, and have talked to in my lifetime. And by you being part of that, then I can connect you with other people and know who you are, because that's what I want to touch and live and experience people's lives, so that we can all grow and have a better world together. through a red carpet connection and through the Keep Smiling movement. So you will get a free book. It's called How to Build a Super VA using Chat GPT. So we actually give you the prompts and the information, and then we'll be having a free course to follow up to let people know how to incorporate that into their lives. And I also will be giving everybody a free access to some hypnosis as well for removing limiting beliefs and obstacles that block you from having the financial future that you deserve, because there's enough there for everybody. And at no time does anybody need to feel lack or feel like there's not abundance, because there's enough for everyone.
Wow, thank you so much for those. We're definitely going to tap into that. I'll definitely put that in our show notes as well so that they can connect with you, Dr. Andrea. That is amazing. And definitely take her up on her offer. She's doing amazing things, just changing the world one smile at a time, which I absolutely love. And talk to us briefly about, before we give you the last words of closing, because this is all about you, but I definitely want to know more about, and let me look here, because I had some notes here and I just been intrigued in everything we've been talking about. But you did say that you help people, you're the dream maker. And tell us a little bit about that. Why do you want to make people's dreams come true? What is it about seeing someone really bring their vision to life that makes it for you?
Yeah. So I see dreams as often I see people, and when they share their dreams, it's almost like it's innate object. Like, so it's maybe innate's not the right word, but I want it to be living and breathing. To me, a dream grows and expands with you. In fact, there's an author. His name is eluding me right now. What do you do with an idea? Let me look it up really quick. Kobe Yamada. Kobe Yamada recently, I give this book to my clients and so forth. It's What Do You Do with an Idea? When I read this book, I just brought me to tears. And when I buy it for my clients, I read it to them before they receive it, because I want them to experience it with me and how much it means to me. So with the book, very much how I envisioned always with the dream is that people have this dream, and it's this festering dream in their heart. But when you build it and you allow it to grow, and you start giving it ideas and you give it life, it comes to life. And in this book, What Do You Do with an Idea? He makes this idea a thing, and then how people make fun of his thing, and you tell people about your thing and that'll never be, and that can't happen. And that's going to happen. And I always tell everybody anyways, because you're going to find the people who believe in you. And so the naysayers, you poo-poo them, and maybe take some of their advice to heed. Doesn't mean you believe the negativity in it, but you think, okay, there might be some obstacles. Let me be aware of that. So that helps you be more resilient to overcome those. But that way you can build it, because then when your idea has full life, when you feed it and love it and nurture it, it feeds and nurtures you. And then it just becomes amazingly bigger than you. The Keep Smiling movement, while I adopted that and made that mine as well, it was my clients, hey, how do we do this? I got so enthralled in it, it became mine too, and it became ours. And now it's bigger than all of us. The movement belongs to the people, to everyone. It's not ours. It's yours. It's everybody's. And so I kind of went off on a tangent here. I got all super excited about that.
That's perfect.
But that's what it is. It's this ability to, when I hear what people want to do, my mind reminds me of a card catalog, which people don't really have those at libraries anymore, but the little card files at the library, you'd open one up and you'd pull out a card, and cougar is a mountain lion and they live blah, 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 or cougar is a woman over 40 who, blah, 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 and then it tells you where to go cross-reference that. And then you open up another card file. I image my brain as a card file. So like things are and they're cross-referenced just like at the library. So you would pull out something, and you pull out a card, and let's say it's knowledge or image. Let's say it's about balm global. So balm for me used to be like a lip balm or a balm that you put on your skin to soothe it, to make it feel better. Now in balm, I pull it out and it says BALM, an acronym for Nikki Questo's information and what she does in her business acumen and what she does for people. And then I'm like, oh, okay. And so now, cross-reference BALM with leadership. And now it's then, she has a radio show, BALM. It's also over here in podcasting. And so all of a sudden now that information is stored in different places in our head. So that way, when we map out things, I can see a different picture, because I'm like, oh, Nikki's here. Nikki's son is here. Nikki's family, and she's connected to CLA. She's in BALM. This is what she does. This is her heart. This is her corporate. And then as I build that out, I see it as a shell. If you cut open a shell, it has these little niches in it where the snail can hook on and get into it deeper and deeper. And at the core, Nikki is who she is at the core. And then Nikki is who she is at a bird's eye view. Who is she, her company, her business, her expansion, her whole world. And as we can come in those different niches or notches along that, everywhere is a different level. So where can we take those trainings, that knowledge, that information, and make it something that maybe wasn't there before? And so that's how my brain works, is like I'm pulling out these drawer files and making these connections to things that it's kind of interesting, because when I meet other people, they don't make these connections. So like in my head, I have this flipping Rolodex. So yes, they're in my phone, but they're in my head. So if you mention something or mention someone, I'm like filtering, where is that? Who is that? What is that connected to? Could that be connected to that? So as I'm meeting and talking with people, all this information's coming in, and I'm putting it in little data points all over in these drawers in my brain that I can retrieve and resource and add to the contribution of the whole. And so I think of that, of the whole world that way. And so when I meet people, I get really, you can see how excited I get about being able to help them expand and see beyond what they see beyond, because their dream may only be this, and their dream could be this, because they've been limited their whole life, or told that they couldn't do what they wanted to do, or never thought it was possible.
Yeah,
things
definitely.
are possible. Who woke up one day and thought, oh my gosh, you could be a movie reviewer and review movies your whole entire life? Well, one of my friends, he does that. He reviews movies and writes for a thing. And so every weekend he's eating popcorn and candy and hanging out at the movie theater. And he's in his 70s now. He's been doing it his whole life. I have other friends who do voiceovers for cartooning on different shows and do amazing things. Who thought that you could do that? And it could be anything. Like even we've talked recently about we own rental property. We own multiple rental properties, and we thought, what a cool side business if we had like a Roto-Rooter thing and cleaned out people's sewers and stuff. And so I'm thinking about that, because I'm like, well, we can use them for all our properties, and then all of our family's properties, and then the people that we know. And so it just made more sense that why don't we just own this rather than hire it out? We could just have it whenever we need it. So if somebody has a clog at 2:00 in the morning, I could just take care of it. I'm also a problem solver like you. So that's how my brain works. Is like, how can that be more functional, feasible, make money from it, be resourceful? Who else can we include? And I'm an includer. So who else do we pull in to make this happen? So that's me.
Absolutely. I love that. But I just have to point out one thing. How did you build this Rolodex?
The Rolodex, it's funny, it's probably bigger than that. I really only started realizing that I had it and paying attention to it over the last couple years, and it was only the last 3 months that I actually sat down and looked at it and made it and started correlating the assets to it. And by the way, its net worth might be 12 billion, but the worth and value of the people in it is way beyond their financial net worth. It's their connections and who they know and how things happen. Think about this. I think it was because of the pandemic, when people need things, and it's important, like let's say somebody's sick and somebody needs a specialized doctor or something. You just start calling people and asking them questions. Hey, do you know this? Do you know anything about that? Do you have a reference for this? Do you have a reference for that? And then all of a sudden your problem can be solved by just simply asking, do you know somebody? And I found out through my whole life, because I did 911, and because I taught college, 2 different schools in 7 different departments. And my students had the permission, they could call me anytime, day or night, because I always have my phone on silent. And I became the 911 for 411. And what's happened is, even though I don't tell people in the world that, people call me to find out things or to get resources or information. And so it's just always been there for me. Like, that's always what it's been. For example, 3 years ago, there was a cruise of 450 of my peers that I couldn't go on that year. And this was a cruise that I won the Heart of Gold on. I was nominated as being one of the most selfless people. It's something I'm really proud of. And that's why this cover has a heart on it, a gold heart. It's because I'm known as the Heart of Gold. And I take that very seriously, that I want to be that person. And I wasn't even on the cruise. And they knew I wasn't on the cruise. And yet they Facebook Messengered me or WhatsApped me and were asking me, where's the cocktail party tonight? Because they knew that I'd know the answer. I'm not even on the trip, and I knew the answer. It was crazy. And I'm like, you do know that I'm not on? And they're like, yeah, I know. Because I had like 5 different events that week and couldn't go. And I'm like, you do know I'm not on the ship? And they're like, yeah, I know.
Yeah. And that's really what I was alluding to, is that all this happens through connecting, through being in the room, through going to these events, to making these things happen for yourself. Would you agree?
Oh yeah. My friends named me the Red Carpet Connection, because when I started the Red Carpet Connection in 2011, I was known for my other business, Ignite Your Relationships, which is all about relationships. And I mostly talked with interpersonal and business relationships, and talked about intimacy as well. And they named me the Red Carpet Connection because they're like, Andrea, you're at all these events, you're always on the red carpet. And even if you're not on the red carpet, you make people feel like red carpet worthy. You always love on them, and you want them to feel important, and you always make time for people, and they're like, you're one of the most busiest people I know, and yet you're like super chill about things and time. It's like you got all freaking day. And I say, I choose to be busy. I live 3 lifetimes in one on purpose, because why am I limited to 9 lives? No, I'm going to have 27.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Well, it has been an absolute blast. How can people get a hold of you?
Probably the best way is through www.theredcarpetconnection.com. And then also people are welcome to email me, text me. And then I'm at Andrea Adams-Miller on all my social platforms, at Andrea Adams-Miller. And I'm approachable and reachable. If I don't get back with you right away, text me again, and, and let me know what you're looking for. And I really want to talk with people who are serious about changing their lives. So if you're serious, you're willing to invest in yourself, and you're a mover and shaker, and you know that you're ready to do it, then reach out to me. I do have some, customized projects and courses and on publicity and promotion, and radio interviews, and impromptu speaking, and speaking on stage, and just pretty much anything you can think of. I've got programs on, and then I customize programs to people too, because we're not cookies. Every cookie needs its special love.
Yes, absolutely. It has been an absolute blast chatting with you. Can't wait to see you soon. I know I'm going to see you in October.
And hopefully before then.
Yes, I'm sorry. My alarm's going off. So I have this thing where every hour on the hour, I do my affirmations and kind of reset. And I just forgot to turn it off today. I didn't think we were going to go this long, but it has been absolutely amazing. Yes, we're chatting and we cannot stop, because when the conversation is good, you have to keep on going. And I wanted to make sure that they got every highlight of what you do, because I'm just in awe of everything that you're doing. I'm super excited since meeting you with Austin at Flashpoint, as well as when Jose bring you on to the CLA, which was super awesome. And we're going to have plenty of more time to chat, to have fun, and just keep smiling together. And I did not I did not miss what you said about being vulnerable and open, and I do. So that I do. But when
Good.
it comes to work, no complaining. We just got to get it done.
Get it done. I'm cool with
Yes.
that. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. And thank you
Yes.
so much. And the things that I love doing is masterminding, working with people. I love speaking on stages and being on shows. So, go ahead and reach out to me, and we'll help bring more love to whatever it is that you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. And as I always say, have a great day and make it count. Bye.